Hello everyone. I thought I'd just make just a quick short video. Um, I know I gave the vlogging a good go at the start of when I come um, out here to Thailand. Quickly gave it up, to be honest. Really underestimated how much work it is. Not only editing, um, but like you constantly have to be doing new things, and it just wasn't the reality. It was really exciting for me at the start, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna be a vlogger, like I'm gonna go and do everything, but I quickly just settled into normal life. Yeah, so I left that alone. But I'm making this video today because over the last week or so, I've really been reflecting on where I was before this year, before the end of this year, and what's happened in my life over the last 6 months or so, and how much has come together off the back of my sobriety and making choices out of like my heart, like following my heart. So I wanted to just give a bit of background. Some people may know me, like some people might not. And to be honest, I'm just making this video. Even if one person resonates with this, it's worth it. But I had a pretty normal childhood, nothing too out of the ordinary. Grew up in like Essex ways in the UK, and had a pretty normal life. The start of the story really starts when I was about 15. I started going, started working in like a telesales office, and quickly got introduced to like the party lifestyle, like going down the pub, getting on it, so like doing cocaine. Introduced to that that sort of life from some older people. Not the best of influences, but I got stuck into it, and yeah, it all started from there. Pretty chaotic, to be honest. Like I started like everyone else, just having a few beers down the pub. That had turned into like being out all night, going home, going to people's kitchen parties, having like after parties, and I thought I was pretty normal, to be honest. And with the alcohol, like I used to be quite a shy kid, never really fit in. Wasn't really the same as all the other boys. Like I never really liked football at all. Wasn't into the things that they were into, so I found myself to be quite an outsider and quite just a bit different. But the alcohol, when I used to drink, that just completely changed who I was. Like I felt like I instantly fitted in with everyone, could like talk to anyone, had this confidence. It made me feel indestructible, basically. Instantly addicted. I'd go down the pub when I was 15, get a newspaper out, have a pint of Foster's, talking to all the old timers in there. Basically just found a place where I fit in. But my relationship with alcohol and drugs really quickly escalated. I started to like I was always the last man standing at any parties or anything like that. Like I'd stay up all night doing cocaine. Yeah, and to be honest, at the start like, there was some good times, but it really quickly like turned into like misery pretty much. And I started like drinking quite heavily. The pubs, I'd go down the pub probably about an hour, drink as much as I could, and then sit in a car and do balloons and sniff loads of cocaine and like get all weird, like, and just be out of my head basically. And I wasn't quite sure why I was doing it. I think I just thought it was fun, and there was like nothing else to do. And then that went on for a few years, and when I was about 22, so I'm 25 now. When I was about 22, it got really bad. So I was working in recruitment. I'm still in recruitment, but I was working in recruitment, started making like better money, and that was petrol on the fire. Like I obviously had the means to afford more drugs, like a crazier lifestyle, and yeah, I spiraled pretty much, like really spiraled. And so what happened basically, this lifestyle that I was living got so out of hand. Like I'd go out all night, Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday I'd lay in bed, shivering, cold, not being able to eat, not doing anything. Hadn't slept for 2 days. Basically in an emotional wreck. Like I'd promised my mum that I'm never going to do this anymore. Like she heard it so many times, and she was really concerned about me because I was like drink driving, drug driving, making reckless decisions. Yeah, I was basically just really acting up, and it was making my mental health worse and worse and worse and worse. I was living in a flat at the time. This is like the end of 2022 in Chelmsford. My drinking drugs had got so out of control. I was like drinking at work in the morning, like drinking spirits from the shop to try and ease the come down, where I'd been out the night before all night and stayed up all night, and was just an absolute wreck. And then basically I had a word with my boss at the time, my director, and just said, look, I'm so ill, I've got to leave work. That night, or that day, that was in the morning, I went home to my flat, just drunk like 10, 12 Stellas back to back, and just laid there and was just thinking, wow, like I was just so out of it, so unhappy, so depressed. And that period of my life is a bit blurry, but there was like a period for about 6 weeks where I wasn't seeing anyone. I was locked myself in my flat. I wasn't really eating properly. I wasn't drinking water. I wasn't brushing my teeth. Like I just lay in bed, and then my money started really running out, and I'd borrow money off people to go and get drugs delivered, and then I'd do all the drugs, and then I'd be laying there again, and it got worse and worse and worse, and that was one of the hardest times of my life. And I'd never ever thought I'd get to that point, but my brain started to fantasize about suicide. Like I wasn't like, I'm gonna kill myself, but the thought of I could just go and walk in front of a train like tonight, like I could do that, and it was coming up, and I was going, whoa, and I was like 2 people, and I was like, I can't believe I'm thinking about this. Like, Ast, you're in a really bad way. Like you're in a bad way, mate. And I knew, rewind a bit, I knew at 18 I had a proper problem, like an addiction problem. I just could never leave it down. Once I started, I could not stop. And anyway, this night, I thought, I'd done loads of drugs, done loads of gear, really paranoid, thinking that the police were going to come through the door, thinking people were watching me through the blinds and stuff. Like I used to get like bad psychosis. And yeah, that night, all of it run out, all the drink run out, everything, and I was laying there in my lowest point of my life, and I was like, what do I do? Like, I'm desperate now, I'm in despair, I'm in absolute despair. I was trying to, like, I wanted to call my mum, but it was like 3:30, 4 in the morning. I thought about calling the Samaritans, but I like sort of pussied out of that. Like, I didn't want to do that. And I had a necklace, a cross necklace. It was like one like this, but I bought it on holiday with my mate like a year before or whatever, and I bought it just for the cosmetic purposes because I thought they looked cool. I don't even know what I was thinking, but I definitely didn't buy it for any religious reasons. And in my despair, I clutched my cross and I said, look, if you're real, God, if you're real, Jesus, if you're real, you've got to save me right now, because I think I'm going to leave this world. Like, I can't do this anymore. And in that moment, I had what can only be described as a supernatural experience, and it was real. I was obviously, this part of my life is blurry, but this moment I remember clear as day. It was like completely sober. I had a vision, like I was there, of walking my childhood dog. She was a chocolate Labrador, Willow, absolute angel of a dog, in this like green forest tunnel, walking her, and a voice in this ear saying, Aston, everything is going to be okay. And I burst into tears, hadn't cried for years, and just burst into tears, and felt a peace land on me that I've never felt in my life, and everything sort of come out. And from that point on, I knew there was something out there. Like before this, I was a complete atheist. I thought God was something that people believe in just to make themselves feel better about dying. Like I just didn't believe at all. I thought this is where we are. Like we're in the physical world. Once you die, you're just dead, and you go back to the same place before you were born, like just black. But this experience, in my lowest, darkest moment, showed me that there was a force, a higher loving force, that knew how much I loved that dog. And in this moment, I forgot to say this, in this moment when I had this vision of walking my dog, I had the names Michael and Raphael just bounce around in my head, like Michael, Raphael, Michael, Raphael. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. But after this moment, I started healing, I started getting better, I started listening and being called to listen to Jesus's teachings out of the blue. Like, and there was a YouTube video, I'll link it below, and it's like just the words of God, and I used to listen to it in the background, and it used to just give me a sense of peace. Like it was like someone was cuddling me. Like that's the only way I can describe it. And it turns out Michael and Raphael are the archangels. They're archangels, and one's for divine protection and one's for healing. And their names were bouncing in my head, and I had no idea about them at all. I had no idea of anything biblical, anything like that. I had no knowledge. And it wasn't a linear path, to be honest. I still kept relapsing. I actually had a really bad relapse where I was up for 2 nights with my mates, taking all different types of like Valium, cocaine. I think the gear was bashed up with speed. Like I was in a bad way, and I called my mum and I said, "Mum, like, I'm having a psychotic episode. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing." I was walking around a place called Wickford with just my coat on, no t-shirt. I didn't know where I was. And I got taken to the local hospital, Broomfield, and collapsed on the floor, and apparently my heart stopped, but I can't really remember what happened. And that didn't stop me. I kept going, but there was something that had shifted inside me. And one day I went to my first meeting in AA. A guy called Brian, he's like an old timer, was sober for like 30 years, like an amazing earth angel. And he took me to my first meeting in Malden, in like a little small church, and there was loads of like people there. And he said, "Mate, if you want to talk. If you don't, just listen to what they have to say." And I was listening to these people and sharing just so like the truth, just being authentic. And I thought, wow, like I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that feels like this all the time, where I feel like I can't stop drinking. Like once I have one, I'm just out all night. And all these people were in all different stages of their sobriety, and it completely touched me, and I felt the presence of God that day. Like it was a higher power, and it felt like love. And they say in AA, you don't have to believe in God or Jesus, but it's a higher power that you need to believe in. That we're not the most powerful beings in this universe, and my higher power at the start was nature. Like I really always connected to nature. It makes me feel really peaceful, really, as you can see, makes me feel really, really calm. And I shared in that meeting. It was my first one. I was off the back of a session, so I was had the alcohol sweats. If you drink, you know what they are. Feeling really shaky and jittery, and I was just sharing. I poured my heart out to these randomers, and they were so welcoming and so accepting, and making me cups of tea and that, and just saying everything's going to be all right, mate. Like, and I felt like genuine love in that place, and it shifted me. It completely changed who I was. Before, I was living out of complete ego. So I thought it was all about BMWs, earning as much money as possible, fast, flash cars, designer clothes, just material. And that, I know for a fact, if you chase that, you will always be empty. Because I chased it, I thought I had it all, and I didn't. I was so far from the truth. But yeah, by the grace of God, I'm coming up to 2 years sober today. Over the last year, I've been a real, true follower of Christ. Like, I've tried to repent for all the bad things that I've done, and it takes a weight off your shoulders. Like, it really does. And I've found so much fulfillment and joy and peace, like a peace that I've never known before. I used to wake up with so anxiety through the roof. I used to think I was having a heart attack all the time for some reason. Like, my heart would palpitate, and that's gone. And every day I wake up and I'm happy and I'm peaceful. And yeah, I still have problems that we all do. We're human, but they're minuscule compared to what I went through. And I genuinely believe that's because I've connected to a higher power, which for me is Jesus Christ. He saved my life that night when I held that cross. So I just thought I'd make this video to just share my story. If one person hears this and it resonates, my only advice would be to reach out to myself or anyone else that you know that is sober or in recovery or has gone through the problems that you have right now and come out the other side. And just know that you're not alone. Like, you're not alone in whatever you're facing. There's always someone else facing that same problem. But for me, it was alcohol and drugs that I couldn't escape it and I tried so many different things to get sober. I even tried these tablets, with like experimental tablets called Nalmethine. Paid a fortune for to get these tablets, which basically you take them and you drink and you don't feel a buzz. They don't work. But yeah, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on who I was before and who I'm becoming, and I'm so much better off now. I'm connected to God, and you, like I said, you don't have to believe in a certain God or anything like that. I think every religion is just trying to point to the same thing, which is a higher power. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to my story, and it's my testimony basically. And yeah, feel free to reach out if you need any help or any support or any guidance in any aspect of your life. But yeah, I love you all. Thank you very much. All the best.